So everybody, it's Mon here. Welcome back to another one of my versus battles. Now you guys might be all wondering, possibly if you care with this, when my voice is like that. It's like kind of a long story. I'm not gonna explain too much, but just know I got into a conversation with Yellen a little bit. It's not really a big deal. If you guys want to get more of the roller coming for the story, I'll go and explain that eventually one day. I'll have to go show my face again and actually just explain it when the time comes. Obviously, I'm not going to get into it. Hope you guys will enjoy this versus battle between the great Jimmy Hopkins, that lightweight champion, versus Jake Taylor, the true proud man that won the beatdown, the true proud champion. I give you Jimmy Hopkins, the man with the balls of will, and the man with the reckoning of great man measure. You know? Anyway, let's go and get to it. Hope you guys will enjoy as always. First off, we starting with the boy Jake Tyler, the reckoner of the beatdown. Jake Tyler, in case you guys don't know, if obviously the title, Jake Tyler versus Jimmy Hopkins. Jake Tyler is from Never Back Down and is one of, if not the best character in Never Back Down all around though. He's one of my inspirations, a character I loved a lot when I was younger and obviously still now, especially saying matter for why I got into combat sports, which I will go and talk about my love for him if I ever go ahead and review Never Back Down 1 and talk about some RSA Math stuff. I'll go and get into that. But mainly it's my inspiration because of the fact that he holds a rise for why a bunch of different people get into combat sports, anger issues, bullying, and rising up above the challenges. Yeah, I put most of our kind of people down in this sense, you know. But at the same time, again, like I said before, the role that comes in the foundation for why something like that is in this sense the same in comparison is mainly in line with the factors for why you have somebody else like this and this with the character that makes them this. So I'm going to go ahead and explain what he does and how he's like. Talking about his character, Jake Tyler moves into a new state, moves into a new school in this sense, coming to a new place, being a new kid, a new fresh fish on the block. He doesn't have an understanding of things. He has anger issues. He went through a bunch of different stuff in the past. And obviously, as you see in the movie, my man has a lot of brawler intention. He has a lot of rifle intention when he gets into his field. Now, obviously, he's not a psychopath, but at the same time, he can bop. You know what I'm saying? He can box. In the words of Ryan McCarthy, the antagonist, the villain of the movie, and he don't play around. Like the actor, Jake Tyler, he's a very dynamic person. But at the same time, when he comes into this place, he gets a wrong idea of how the school's like for all these fights, all this bullying technically here and there, and sees someone that will rest on shore that he gets a feel of it from a pain standpoint. So he comes to a party thinking it's cool, but the main event, like I said, Ryan McCarthy whoops his ass in front of everybody by antagonizing him, talking about his dad because his dad was drunk and he let him sit in the passenger seat. Instead of time, he was dead at the form of him letting him go and do that in this sense from what he said to him. Because, I mean, I can't really repeat exactly what he said, exactly word for word, because obviously I forgot it. It's not part of my script here. But at the same time, actually what he said pretty much was that, where were you when your father was drunk? Let him just pass forward in the car. Wow. More than catching the ball there, huh? Like, in this sense, he's just trying to dismember every format for what he's doing. Because literally in this instance, it's literally defined in the form of missing the ball there. He dropped the ball big hard. Because again, his father was drunk. He let him go and sit himself in the passenger seat. He let him sit there, drunk, driving, rode himself into a tree. He survived, but his dad fortunately passed away because of it. And he blames himself. His mother almost technically does. But at the same time, he has to go and rise up from that. And like the music that's playing in the background, he has to be stronger than that. And so even though he gets his ass kicked in front of Ryan McCarthy, at the same time, him actually beating him, But him getting his ass beat in front of the entire school at the party, getting battered, getting clipped in the face by Ryan McCarthy, and beat in front of the female love interest, he still rises to be better. And that's what gets him to the never back down field, to give him to the beat down in the face Ryan McCarthy and beat him through this tournament of MMA fighters. So being a mixed martial artist, he has a bunch of different dynamic kind of skills. And so Jake Tyler, the boy, who's pretty much like a Rocky in this sense, the same after never back down one, rises with multiple kind of skills. His skills include some boxing, street boxing, which obviously street boxing and street fighting are not a form of battle in a sense, in the coalition and everything's like. His voice in mine kind of lost my voice, so go ahead and excuse me, guys. You guys have to work with me on this. Alright, go and listen up, please. I was saying again, it's actually a vital sense of actually the case of fighting style, because the reason why I say it is because some people classify it as a method of fighting, when technically you're right, but it's really not. Because what I mean by street boxing and the difference between boxing, because you have general format of boxing, like the format of the characters on screen box, but then he has a role of just street boxing, like use elbows, playing dirty, doing anything almost to win and get the fight done, because he will play dirty if he has to. He has a lot more better sound precaution of honor, I guess, but I mean, he will run if he needs to when it comes down to actually throwing hands at a harder core, you know what I'm saying? So if he needs to actually go ahead and box and show what's up, he will if he needs to. He's not going to just push himself down to the point where he won't box. If he got to box with you, that nigga will box with you. As simple as that. But at the same time, I was saying that why it actually counts against naturally fighting things street boxing is not actually a martial style. Some people just account it as that because of the figurement of what it is, and also in row actually street fighting being a style and bully with the townies. I'm just counting it in case somebody wants to know what he has in comparison to him. I think Jimmy has a lot more better roundabout form of fighting styles, but I would say that Jake Tyler arguably outskills him just for a little bit, especially in account for this being taken into two different sides and stuff, which I'm going to get more into that, which is why I'm starting with Jake Tyler, because Jimmy Hopkins has a lot more to him, so there's going to be a lot of stuff to be said about him. But anyway, rolling with the form of what I was saying, this is not the most vital common technique, but I hold to play the format for what I was saying. So again, street boxing, street fighting, plays dirty if he needs to, and will push up on you if he needs to actually rock with the best. Then he has MMA, aka mixed martial arts, capabilities of Muay Thai, wrestling submissions, and a three-piece combination where it's the roundhouse kick, blow fire, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. That's a skill and everything that he has capability. Now his durability, he can fight for a big long time. He's a champ. He can fight being choked out almost by the main character right there, but at the same time, he can have better capability to do bigger stuff after that, even if that's the case. But at the same time, when I say main character in the comparison, I'm talking about Jimmy. Even though they count for how this happened, well, he's able to almost be choked out entirely, gripped around his neck by the main villain, Ryan McCarthy. But when he comes into play with his actual capabilities, bigger durability than that, got some able to gas a little bit of breath. So Jimmy was ever trying to full submission him and can maybe roll out of the account for his wrestling submissions. Talk about that, and that's one of the things that I actually have a counter put on Jimmy. Obviously, because this game isn't actually an MMA game, it's just street brawling with a count of actually having some martial arts put in there. He won't actually be able to show too much we're getting out of wrestling submissions, but at the same time, the same amount of his capabilities do kind of put him a little bit more stationary to the possibility of getting out of him. So with this being said, in full, Jake Tyler will have an up on him at wrestling submissions and fighting, but his capabilities to fight and move and deliver punches and roundabout combinations in between it, and at the same time submit him by his legs, Jimmy will have a little bit of a problem. I think Jimmy will be able to get out of it overarchingly, though. I'll get more into that when it comes down to Jimmy, because obviously we're starting with Jake Tyler here. But all around, though, his capabilities and run with how he's able to do stuff is very interesting for what he has a capability to do stuff. So all around, that's just how I feel with his capability and all the other stuff that comes with that, because his capabilities to fight are very interesting when he comes together. In fact, there's some combinations coming with that. So with that being said, when he's gassed out of breath by Ryan, he was able to grip him by the neck with a little bit of capability of power and use a twirl capability with his wrestling submission to be able to put him out of commission and run up a blow at the right time. He's also able to get cracked up in his ribs 3 times and actually be able to fight and get slammed on the ground. So he has a good even run of durability, but accounting for what Jimmy's able to do in a full fight, because those wrestling submissions will arguably help depending on the count, same after the context of both of them. But overarchingly, that's only a little bit groundwork capability, durability in comparison to Jimmy. So it really is a realistic form of actor fighting for what you can do. I'm gonna drink some water real quick, Jesus. You guys know what I'm saying? Hopefully, it's just I'm trying to say it as good as possible. Because again, my voice, but at the same time, my voice isn't this fucking dying rasp. I'm just trying to make it as clear cut for everything I'm trying to say. But at the same time, in balance with this is a good running point for his character within his durability with the ribs, his skill, his performance, and the fact that Jake Tyler does not give up and he can run it as good as possible when he wants to, as he will never back down. He has a lot of will. Pretty much it. At the same time, with his skills and capability, he was able to overrun half of the beatdown members. At the same time, with his skill in comparison to other people, he's able to gang up on 3 different people and fight them. What I mean by this more in context is that with the capabilities of his skill mixed in what he can do, besides their ability, is that he's able to take on 3 guys in a street fight. Because they were trying to gang up on him, arguably in account for the fight. But he rocked them, ran through all of them. He's able to beat Ryan McCarthy, which again, like I said, is the main villain, has a lot more upper brutacious skill than him. He's able to overpass, how the case of matter, for the members of the beatdown / half of the cast of people that he's fighting in the tournament. And overarchingly, he's a champ when he needs to. And he's able to fight the other people and put up a little decent defensive run of a fight against his teacher and all that. So overarchingly, he has a great amount of command for his skill, especially since he is the true winner of the beatdown by beating Ryan McCarthy. As again, he had a different kind of context for why he beat him, because everything happened, but he still beat him. And again, he overpassed half of the case of contestants in the beatdown tournament. So overall, that makes him technically the full proud winner of the form of that entire beatdown, with the beatdown was obviously a tournament of MMA fighters. So again, he overrated them, took on 3 guys, took on his teacher, and counter-factored him beating Ryan McCarthy. He pushed retired roundabout a case of this. He beat Ryan McCarthy, who won the beatdown twice. This. Besides all of that, though, obviously Ryan McCarthy is a big and epic combatant, and Ryan McCarthy almost beating him twice because him being out of the party, beating him up in the bathroom, and then account involving the factor that obviously beat him and paving the way to show the true champion of the beatdown. That's Jake Tyler in a niche. Time to go ahead and get over to Jimmy Hopkins, the boy. Now with Jimmy Hopkins, we obviously know his characters are one of the characters of GTA. Not in the bad sense, but with his character, he has a lot of things going on with him. Because of a different place besides over here in New England, going to Bulworth Academy for a new school year. Being a freshman in high school, being 15, most likely 16 at the end of it, not being age 15 by chapter 5. That's just by a case of a thing that actually is age 15, because birthdays technically don't exist in the Rockstar games and they don't hold a point within this kid's time, so it's just whatever the case may be. But again, actually accounting for what's happening with the character and all that being said, everything that makes the character whole is just him coming over to a new school, his mom being with a new stepfather, his father obviously is unknown. It doesn't even matter. He doesn't like his stepfather, like most cases matter for stepchilds, because military format for stepfathers are not the best to some of the stepkids. I will know from experience, not no weird shit, not anything bad happening with me, mind your business. But my point is that I account for his stepfather. He don't like him, rich, old, random motherfucker. He don't like him. He thinks he's fat, old. He studies over his grandfather in his own words. He does not like him. He doesn't understand why his mom will even marry that phony. But they go on their honeymoon, and now he's stuck for this entire year over at this random school that has a bunch of bullies, psychopaths, random motherfuckers, rich boxers, random greaser gang members, weird monkey jocks, nerds who are out here going to be in the octagon for technology ransom, and at most point, some badass girls, but at the same time, it's really questionable. But Jimmy Hopkins, now at this new place, has to make friends, has to make a new home, and that's pretty much Jimmy Hopkins at a niche. But what other count for his character and everything that comes involved in his character more is that Jimmy Hopkins learned some new things along this way, like skills, friends, pushes through multiple cases of the factions / clans / groups of the case of other characters, goes through them and tries to push through without giving up in the entire hierarchy. Now we've had a new school, new friends, and new enemies. He passes through, meets an antagonist, such the main villain in this sense, of Gary Smith, the Op. He meets him, goes for different kind of conflict and clashes, and again, runs for different factions and clans of Bulworth Academy through Bulworth Town. So, with that being said, He has to fight through them and learn some different things and skills and mannerisms. And at the end, no matter your theory or headcanon, it's a happy ending from stopping Gary Smith and not being expelled and running for the time out of school, and pretty much it. And Jimmy Hopkins being one of the realest niggas alive with back and forth energy. Anyway, though, they're going to explain his skills and all that. Now, with the skills of Jimmy Hopkins, he has boxing, Muay Thai, aka kickboxing, pro wrestling, street wrestling, arguably if you want to count it, and street boxing, street fighting. Like I said, it is a caliber move of the townies, so that's why it rolls with someone like Jimmy Hopkins, because he fights the most relentless way. He'll fight dirty if he needs to. He won't stop. He don't stop about anything. He don't play, and he'll fuck anybody up if he needs to, and the count involving him needing to go ahead and get somebody down for the count. Now, with that being said, his capabilities to fight and do a bunch of other stuff really depends on how somebody does things, because capabilities to fight are pretty interesting and inanimate in their own right, you know? So depending on how he does things, it really just depends on how you make it out to be in between the fight. Because again, he be doing knees, he be doing elbows, he be doing headbutts, he kneeing you in the groin, motherfucker do not play. Obviously, some of these kind of involving things do work in MMA, not obviously from the headbutts, because no, that is illegal, but the fact that knees, elbows, everything along those lines work. But again, he'll crunch you up multiple different cases of street-like moves, and at the same time, he'll knee you straight up in the testicles, bro, straight right up in the balls. So this man do not play around, and he'll do anything he can to actually go ahead and crush you. That's on the case. So involving that is just why that works in that caliber with the character. And then obviously he has MMA moves with combinations, mix-ups, all that. His skills and caliber within defeating other people and doing other stuff. With that being said, is he'll be able to defeat someone like Biff Taylor. Or Taylor. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. I'm pretty sure it's Biff Taylor. Guys, says him a better. Tyler is not bad. I feel like it most likely is Biff Taylor. But either way, Biff Taylor, the lightweight Bullworth champion. As Jimmy actually became the Bullworth lightweight champion because of the fact that he defeated him, obviously. He defeats this prime boxer right here in the red shorts and the red gloves, even though he's getting smacked right now. But he becomes their lightweight junior champion because of him smacking on this man and him dusting all these different other case boxers. He's able to mix them up, multiple calibration of moves, and with his full lock moves, has street fight overhead, wrestling moves, obviously has side kick, roundhouse kick, multi-punch, uppercut, other case stuff, and things along that makes him super cool and makes him an adamant of what he can do. And so this is why he's the best and most compound involving capabilities that he has involving his skill. So when it comes down to Jimmy and how he does things against other people, he beats them. He beat two grade A boxers, and he's fighting outboxers here. The preps are all reminiscent of outboxers and peekaboo, and you have Ginger Muhammad Ali over here boxing over on Jimmy Hopkins. So with that being said, his moveset and his capabilities are a very interesting thing about, because of the pure fact this man has a lot of skills to take on almost any assortment of people when the time comes. So when he fights them, you have to think about him fighting outboxers like Biff and being able to size him up big hard and be able to take his hits. He's able to get knocked on his ass by Biff, and he can be overwhelmed and jumping. Generally, when Jimmy's getting override and jump, it's a bit of a problem, but he can't take on multiple different people and has the moves to go and dodge and weave and take them on. He's also able to beat the prep leader, aka Darby Harrington. Darby Harrington is not on the same level as someone like Biff, but in accounting for his other skill sets, he does have an even or at least close to skill level, because Biff is his muscle and Darby is the brains. Darby can box, but his peekaboo stance and everything that he has is not on the same level actually having a fight with Biff in the ring or outside. Because again, Jimmy can beat his ass outside of the ring and in the ring like he's doing right now, and hit him up with the click like that. Put him on the down, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, people like the preps with boxing, he's able to defeat them. He's able to fuck up the townies, fuck up their leader, Edgar, beat him in a fucking pipe battle over an acid plant. He's able to beat all these different kinds of boxers in the ring. He's able to beat the greasers and fuck up their leader, Johnny, who is fodder. He's fucking ass. But he's able to get twaggled by him and beat him. He's able to beat the entire jock football team and beat them and be able to get fucking Tekken King slinged around and tornado drop kicked almost by one of them from wrong. And then when it comes down to the nerds, he's able to take a lot of them on. Also, I want to talk about a whole like speed thing with this. Speed is irrelevant, not even the factor of like irrelevant speed. But the fact that Jimmy can dodge those torpedo-looking rockets, they're not actually rockets. They're like Nerf gun-like frame-formed rockets. So he's not actually dodging rocket-like stuff and like moving, I don't know, like 125 meters per second. He's not doing shit at subsonic speed. Right, the shit that he can do and his durability and his attack potency is the shit that really matters. And even say he would be doing all that, it really doesn't make a difference. I know obviously it's video games, so you could account it. Just make this fight even arguably more unfair than some people could argue. But I'm just saying that's just why that holds a plate. Because like this nigga is doing shit that should even be a problem, But besides all of that, that's a skill set. Those are the people he's able to fight and do stuff against and all that. So thinking about that in full is a super dynamic thing about it for the cuss account for everything he's actually able to do in total. In retortion, there's some other kids, people and all that. But as well, Jimmy Hopkins evolving durability. He was hit by someone that can make a crater in the wall, which to make a crater in the wall will take thousands of force. Then the person that does this to him, which is Russell, who's able to penetrate him for a wall, make a crater, like I said, is 1,000 force. Russell was also able to break open the metal gate, which would break up a solid reinforced metal gate like over in Bullwolf, would be over 300,000 pounds. So with that being said, if Jimmy's able to take this and actually knock Russell on his ass, and is the only character by consistency able to actually damage Russell, knock him out, fuck him up, ruck his ass back to back when he's fighting in multiple combinations, that would say obviously, well, one, Jimmy can take hits from him, so that's one. Second of all, he's able to dish out a little bit more force than him by the count of him dishing out more, and by a pair of Newton's third law, that would accustom him being able to dish out as much force as he can take in reconnaissance. So with that being said, that is how much force he can dish out at a high ball. As you can see, shit has gone to a whole nother level. But there's more, because obviously Russell, as we know, was able to survive 9 barrels of TNT. It went right through that mug. And with that being said, how much TNT that would be going through all of that, that would be 37.656 of TNT. That shit is ridiculous. In full, 37.656 joules of TNT. So that's a lot to think about. Since Russell was able to survive that, that would mean Jimmy is able to survive that or dish out more in highball than that. And because he was able to take some of these blows, this would bring him to wall level or just steel level at blow ball. Then because of this would be at a most like barricade, gate, maybe at highball, like small building level. Yeah, about small building level. Like that's at a highball. So it's like his durability and shit. He's able to take that shit by durability. Not dish out necessarily more in cuts because he's able to just knock his ass out. But the TNT say it fucking tickle and didn't actually do nothing. So take it to that account. If we're gonna go ahead and go by the high ball, then yeah, that's what he's able to do by that case. But again, this is just at everything. We're gonna talk about consistency and an equation and context in a minute. So don't think that this fight is just gonna be done and out, even though it technically can, because one can still win, even accounting for the other stuff. And then at the same time, he can survive getting tossed through glass and wood with a hammer, and he can take other beatings normal kids can't take. With this being said, he's able to get hit by Norton, glass, other kind of stuff. He also can break up a car, but still correlates to the factor of his power being at wall level. And yeah, pretty much it. So Jimmy Hopkins has a lot of durability and a lot of attack power with him. And with his power in total, he's able to do a bunch of different stuff. He's also able to hit through a bunch of wooden, bare floors, fall through glass and the ceiling. So his durability is pretty consistent for the higher ups to be ridiculously more ridiculous than what you would think. But there's different preferred things that come into play of him surviving this other stuff. That would again be over 1,000 force, but with metal, him breaking through it like Russell, that is, at least these are metal planks, so it's not the same as a gate that's reinforced with full metal like Russell, but there's a big highball to be taken into consideration here. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about them actually fighting now, with all this other stuff said about Jimmy Hopkins, our boy. This fight can go in multiple different kinds of ways. What I'm going to be talking about is obviously the consistency point. Second, how this would go in a street fight, which is very important, and the runabout in an MMA fight, because obviously the way Jimmy could fight, he would definitely be very perfectuous in MMA. So again, to reiterate, the three ways I'm going to be talking about this is consistency, street fight, and MMA. So about consistency, well, with obviously Jake, it's pretty grounded. This is obviously a character from the Never Back Down trilogy movies. So obviously these movies are, in a bare minimum, very realistic. They're not in the same form as Bully, which is very hyper-versal. It's a fucking video game, so they can get away with a lot more stuff. And this stuff can be very weird and unorthodox if we really wanted to, because obviously, again, it's a video game. Anything can happen with it. Jimmy Hopkins has consistently done things that normal humans cannot do. We all know Jimmy Hopkins is not a normal kid by the account of everything I've said, and his beatings and everything he's been ran through. But again, everything he's done is consistently barricading for steel stuff, taking beatings that are unrealistic, unformal for a time of his character and how he does things. At the same time, I understand, with that being said, his character goes for a lot of different things that most others couldn't and count. But at the same time, how he's able to do this shit and go for these problems are ridiculous by going in full half of everything going on. Because, like, legitly, bro, he's able to take a hit from somebody that's able to break through steel. He's able to break through steel pellets, and at the same time, he's able to break open other motherfuckers that are able to do things that don't make sense by kind of physics, or do things that are a little bit arguably inhumane by itself, like breaking up a car, having wall level consistency of high level format of power, and at the same time, with that being said, having that much high level cost of power that he has a consistency to be able to hit shit like that and nothing happens. So with that being said, that's why that works in this sense. That's why in every case, for when he's about to go ahead and use his capabilities to fight, he's always here ready to go and fight off any person that comes in his way, ready and locked. Because in the sense of every situation, like I said, he's going to fight somebody that's able to bull for reinforced steel, which again is 300,000 pounds. Then he's going to break through again steel pellets and break through that at a high grade speed, and none like that is able to be done by obviously normal humans. And so him able to do that is a big foreshowing, because when he's doing that, most motherfuckers couldn't even stop that if they even wanted to. So with that being said, him able to do that with no harm done and just sheerly do it by a full chord is a thing that most people obviously look over, because it's kind of him seeming like a normal human. But he consistently done that. Because again, breaking through steel tents, going through people that are able to do that thing as well in the form of Russell, and him able to buck with him, and Russell again surviving, because it's not consistent that his durability is like that, but the fact he's able to beat him, and Russell again consistently does weird ass shit like this, it's consistent to say that his attack potency and everything he can do power scaling wise is just ridiculous. Like, it's full house, small building level. This TNT shit is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. And again, breaking through this shit is ridiculous force. Like, again, I understand it is what it is, but at the same time, like, you have to understand this is coming to a dude like Jake Tyler, who is in a more grounded universe that is supposed to be more exceptionally reasonable in account involving how something like this is supposed to be commanded for. Because, you know, obviously, this character isn't supposed to be like this in comparison to kind of someone like him, because Jimmy Hopkins is a whole new thing. Jimmy Hopkins is truly the lightweight champion, because his power and blows on fucking steroids. This nigga Jimmy do not give up. His power is unmeasurable in comparison, in this sense, in comparison to Jake Tyler, because his power is just on a sheer force different level. Because Russell was able to break for steel points, crater him through a wall. He's able to fight somebody that's also able to do that and bang both of them up, and then survive that big ass explosion that is again 37.656 kilojoules of TNT. Like, that's ridiculous. And maybe not to that high level extent, because again, correct me if I'm wrong about the math. I know it's obviously dual TNT in the form of everything going on, but him running up on this person and then just cratering them and then not being able to do anything about it and just seismic fucking him up is a whole different thing to think about, because it counts everything that he can do together with power and all that. because at that point it's just done. So they're dead. There's nothing you can do at all in this sense. Was fucking hanged over 10.5 again, you know. So with that being said, I feel like if we're talking about the factors of consistency, he does these things consistently. If we're talking about attack potency, yes, durability, there's a little bit of some run leeways of outlier with him being able to do the same thing as Russell. But the fact that he beats him, you have to take that in consideration. Because with that being said, he just bucks him up. There's no way. We're talking about in a street fight. If we're talking about some submissions, some choreography stuff, maybe Jake Tyler better get to him. But as soon as Jimmy even hits him, like a high ball, he's getting fucked. Like, there's no way, bro. There's no way. Then third, we're talking MA. There's some certain I maybe could see Jake Tyler having an advantage. I don't think he's gonna win in any of these, because the reason why I even had this fight is one, to go and clear it because anybody like me thought of it. I thought back in the day, in the start of me playing bully, first getting introduced to Jimmy Hopkins, that it could be a cool match because they're both kids of the same feel, look, and the concept count for generally why they fight. All that. So with that being said, I like how they're both compounded together. I really like the characters. I like the cuffs for how they do things. So with that being said, how they all will go about doing things is pretty interesting with how this fight will go about. But in MMA style, I definitely think even saying Jimmy couldn't use some machine he would do, if he could disqualify and say he just did it, then I guess for that context he would. But I feel like this is very motorboating on the factor account for someone like Jake Tyler, because like you just take Jimmy breaking the rules as a runaway for him to go ahead and lose. I could see that happening, but like if we just say he doesn't for the discernment of the battle, then I feel like that's reasonable, because like you just say, oh, he might break the rules so he loses. That's kind of stupid. And in case anybody wants to know, I'm not bringing up, Bloodlusted, because that's just overkill. Because like, Jimmy's gonna fucking eradicate him. He's just gonna fucking raw dog him, bro. There's no reason to even bring up Bloodlusted or anything. It's a pretty simple battle here. So overarchingly, with everything in the count for his consistency of being able to overline and at the same time take thousands of force, being able to dish out more radiant power and 37.656 joules of TNT, and at the same time being able to dish out and possibly constrain a bunch of Ks of power and pounds of 300,000 pounds of force, Jimmy Hopkins wins the fight and he beats Jake Tyler. Simple as that. He beats him by knockout. I don't see him beating by submission. But yeah, that's it. What do y'all think? Tell me what y'all think in the comments, even though it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to show all the scans up in this. It's all up in gameplay. It's all up just by science and all that. Correct me if I'm wrong about the math, but even if I'm wrong about the math, the character still overlays Jake Tyler. Like, he's just bodying. It doesn't even matter at all. Yeah, pretty much it. I have some more plans for what case I have for versus battles. It's pretty tiring for when I'm recording this. I'm pretty tired. I'm going to go ahead and see you guys in the next one. I love y'all. Peace out, mommy.
Is there no help? I'm here. I'm doing cold. Watch out, Jimmy. Do not use all of these. One location for crates.